Hi, podcast listeners, and thanks for tuning in to today's episode. As our guest speaker today, we have Lisa Geason-Bauer. She is the homeowner of her very own eco-friendly home. So Lisa is our guest speaker today as the first Eco-Friendly Homes podcast eco-friendly homeowner, which is super exciting. So that's amazing. And I'm so excited to have you here today, Lisa. Thank you.
Oh, thank you, Madison, for having me. I'm very excited. We should say that I hail from the great state of Wisconsin, and I know that you're in Colorado, and I have lots of friends and relatives in Colorado. So shout out to all those Colorado folks. Yay.
Yeah. And shout out to the Wisconsin folks out there. Apparently, a lot of people think that is my namesake, which it is not, but that's okay.
It's a good thing. Madison, Wisconsin is awesome.
So where in Wisconsin do you live and where do you own your home?
So we live in Metro Milwaukee. So we live literally about 30 minutes from downtown Milwaukee and maybe about 45 minutes from downtown Madison. So literally between Madison and Milwaukee on the I-94 corridor. And we live in a little tiny village called Nashotah with, I think we have 2,000 people, maybe 2,100 people. So it's real small. It's pretty rural. Apparently this was the builder's house when they did the development in 1972. And one of the things that the builder had done is he had this outside patio, which over the last, let's just say 40 years, it turned into an inside covered patio. And so when we bought the house, there's a slab of concrete and then it was covered and you can see there's like doors going from inside the house out there, like a double door. And so my husband was like, this is amazing. We want to use this room, not really as a 3-season room. We really want to use this room as our dining room because we have a big family. We do a lot of entertaining and I can have 20 people on like multiple tables there. So it's so awesome. So my husband being a tile guy is like, let's do it. So what does he do? He puts in a tiled floor, but it's a heated tile floor in that room. So it keeps so it radiates heat all year round, and especially in winter. And let me just tell you, when it is like minus 30 degrees below zero outside and it's snowing, I take my laptop, I go sit in the dining room and I look out because it's all windows. So I see nature, I see the horrible blizzard outside, but it's beautifully warm because I'm being heated from my feet up. It's amazing. So that's the only room in our house that has, would be considered radiant floor heat from the heated floor tile, and then what we did is we had a boiler system in the house. So boiler systems, I don't know if you know about boiler systems. Are you familiar with those?
Kinda, not really.
So boiler systems are really good if you are in a big apartment building or like when I lived in Michigan, I went to graduate school at Michigan State. And in Michigan, in downtown Lansing, many of the apartments were on boiler systems, which meant, and the city itself used boiler systems to heat. So it would be the hot air and water would go through the system. And that was how you would heat your room. And it was like leftover heat would come off the water would get heated and they would use that, they pipe it through the systems to warm, your home. So it's kind of like an additional, it's a form of natural, it's a natural type of heating system that's not, it's like a byproduct basically of a heating system, of a big, like commercial grade heating systems, right? So you can have the hot air, the hot water come off. So you can have a boiler. It's not so good for a small home though, right? So I personally think that boiler systems are much better in much bigger spaces because they're great. I mean, you put it's like metal tubing underneath the floors. Basically, they come up and you have like a radiator and it heats out of the room from there. It's a great heat. It's a very dry heat, which isn't always the best, but it works very well, except they're incredibly expensive. So to replace our boiler for our 2,000 square foot house would have been $12,000, which is crazy expensive, right? I mean,
Yeah, that's a lot.
the boiler.
And yeah, just for one system too. That's a lot.
Yep. So because the former homeowner had put in a heat pump and air conditioning unit back, I don't know what year it was, but I'm gonna say it was around 2010, 2011, somewhere around there he did. And but ironically, we actually knew him. So it's a small world. Anyway, with the heat pump being there, they put in ductwork. So we're like, you know what? There's already ductwork in the house. Let's just go to a gas furnace. So we put a gas furnace in, literally half the price. It was $6,000 for the gas furnace. And this is the most expensive, top of the line, super highest energy efficient one in the market. And it was $6,000. And I was like, I will gladly pay that, to make sure that we're using the least amount of gas necessary. And then we have the piping, all the ductwork already in place. So we changed literally how the whole house operated. And then that played into the heated floor, the dining room, because there were 2 vents shooting into that room. So because my husband put the heated floor in there, now we get warm air from the furnace, but really the heated floor keeps it a really nice ambient temperature, and it's right off the kitchen too. So it worked out so well. And again, I'm not an architect, right? I have lots of friends that are, but it's just amazing when you think about how to make your system work for you, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now my little dog, he sleeps in that room at night, and we've got double doors that we close going into the rest of the house. And I have it set at 50 right now. And I go in there in the morning to get him, and it's like 70 degrees because it's so beautiful and warm because the heat stays, because the floor is heated. And so in the wintertime, it's great too, because I never go above 68 degrees. I mean, never, like, because that's the floor, right? And actually the ambient room temperature is even warmer than that. It's just amazing.
Did y'all do any sort of changes to your windows or insulation? Did y'all
Okay, so windows, the house had new windows done. I think it was 2010 maybe ish. So before we bought it, it had all new windows. So we didn't need that. They're double pane windows, but insulation. So great question, because all the stuff that we just did this year ties into, and I have a list. So I can tell you about the things we had done if you want. I have one other thing to tell you real quick to finish off the other stuff we had done. We have a den, and in the den, there's a natural gas fire. Well, it's a natural stone fireplace that originally had wood burning. And at some point, somebody had put in a natural gas. So it's a natural gas fireplace now, which is great, right? But it's all made out of limestone. So it's this beautiful limestone that was quarried 50 years ago. And I'm like, oh my God, this is gorgeous. We need to make sure that everything we do matches that, or we can use that, because some of my friends were like, oh, well, you're just going to tear that down and put a new fireplace in. And I was like, are you kidding? This is natural stone. It's beautiful. So I think, again, we looked at our house and we said, there's some great features in it. Let's accent those. Let's not destroy them. Let's repurpose. So we put in new tile flooring that comes up to the fireplace that looks great. And where else was I going to go? Oh, we put in 28 or 32 canned LED lights throughout the house, because again, it's a ranch, so 1-story house, and it was built in the 70s, so no lighting, so can lights throughout. The house actually, when we got done, used less energy. When my business is out of the house, was operating out of the house. Oh, and my electric car charges here too. So used less energy when we were living here than when the house sat vacant before we bought it.
Really? All just because you changed the LED lights to can lights?
Well, and the system.
And the systems, yeah.
So
but
all
just
of the
sitting
appliances, all the mechanics, everything.
Wow.
Right?
So everything idle was using more energy than y'all use when it's actively being used, than when you turn on the oven, than when you wash your dishes, than when you charge your car.
Yeah. I mean, new washer and dryer, both Energy Star rated. I mean, literally, like, we replaced every mechanic. Oh, new, I'm sorry, I forgot. A new water softener, Energy Star, what's the other thing? Water softener and water heater, electric water heater, Energy Star as well. So I mean, literally all the mechanicals except for the AC were replaced. So everything Energy Star. So I think that makes a huge difference too. And maybe it's only a little bit of it's 1 or 2 things, but if you add up all of those items. So we had an energy audit done in 2019. So we finished all of our construction literally 2 days before Christmas in 2018, and we hosted Christmas.
Oh, that's so lovely. What a great day to finish.
It was lovely. And we were running around kind of like chickens with our heads chopped off, but we got it done, and everybody came over, and it was so beautiful. And then it was like spring of 2019, I had an energy audit done, because I'm like, I want to see what else we need to do yet. And so here's the best part of that energy audit. That energy audit said, okay, you need to do your roof. You need to do air sealing of your attic, air sealing of the basement. So we have blocks in the basement. So those need to be capped and air sealed. And then what's the other one? Air seal. Oh, and the rim joints. So like spray the foam around the rim joints. And then he also, so I'm just looking at my list. He said to also put the blanket around your heater. You know how you're supposed to blanket, put
No, I don't know.
there's it's like the silver material that you wrap around your water heater, and then you wrap around your warm water pipes to keep them warm, because they're in your basement and your basement's cooler than the upstairs part of your, I mean, if your basement's heated, it's different, but our basement's not heated. So they basically they're called blankets. They put this material around and it keeps them warm and it keeps the energy in. So it helps them to be more efficient. So those are the things that we were told we needed to do.
Yeah, that's
And
super interesting. I didn't know. I've never heard that before. No one's ever mentioned a water heater blanket to me, or an air heater blanket.
It might be a Midwest thing too.
Maybe, especially like you said, because even though you'll have a ranch style house, you still have to have all your systems. So it's in like the lower part of your house, which it's more of a crawl space sort of,
and it gets
operating
cold.
room. Yeah, because the earth is so cold that it makes y'all's basement so cold.
So yeah, so maybe it's a Midwest. I don't know. I know that it's kind of a standard here, and we just hadn't done that. So I was like, okay, this is great. I felt really good. We went to focus on the outside of the house, and then we heard about green mortgages, which I know you and I have talked a little bit about, and we could talk about green mortgages.
Yes, we did.
So we heard about this program that was available in Wisconsin to do a green refinance. So like when we bought the house, if we could have done a green mortgage, we would have. We just didn't know. We heard about green refinances. So we did a green refinance, which is similar. It's the same thing as a real refinance. You just make sure that everything you're doing is sustainable. And we worked with a bank called Green Penny, and they're out of Decorah, Iowa. And they're the Midwest's first carbon neutral bank. So super excited to literally finance all of these things we're doing to our home through a carbon neutral bank, right? Like, isn't that amazing? I'm super excited. So we're paying, it's about $50 more a month with the refinance. And then if we take, and now we have a 30-year mortgage again. So if we take all the money we're going to save between the tax credit for the solar, the battery and the roof, as well as the monthly money we're saving from the solar, and apply that to our mortgage, we will have it paid off in 18 years.
Wow.
So it's not so much about the ROI of the solar, it's really about the ROI of the whole operation. Again, I'm thinking like a system here, because what we did then is we put a new roof on the house, and our new roof is amazing. It's called a Malarkey roof, and it has these legacy shingles, which we can talk all about, but that's its own conversation point. And then we got the attic air sealed, insulated, all the rim joists is sealed. We even had, again, because we noticed ice damming and over the dining room because of the heated floor, because the air was going up and going out. So there's a lot of ice damming after we did that. So we put things in to deal with that. There were some chutes put in, and we put more added soffit vents around the whole house to bring in outside air. Again, we're looking at our system, our home as a system, right? Because again, the house was built in 72, and now I talked to 6 different roofers. So I did my research before we hired somebody. And
yeah, that's a lot of people to talk to find the right one. And then you said you went with the Malarkey roof, right? That's what it's called. And
the
then
Malarkey.
When you finish telling us about your ventilation system with the roof, I do want to hear about the shingles.
Yeah, because they're so amazing. And so we were told by multiple roofers, like, hey, look, you've got ice damming in the back. The ice damming is happening either because the airflow isn't right or the insulation isn't right. So we were told a lot of different things. I did my research, talked to the folks I know in the green building world, and then came to the conclusion that really it's both. We needed to deal with air sealing in the attic, insulation, but also we really needed to deal with the airflow, and then we didn't have enough air coming in from outside going up into the roof or up into the attic space, right? So they put in this. I'm so excited about this. The company we worked with literally added on all of the flat parts. We have a peak in the front of our house. We have gables on the sides. All the flat parts, they added venting, and they did like a whole, I don't know, it's like a trough of vents. So like one big long vent across the whole space, which I'm super excited about. And then I worked with a special company that they were able to put chutes in to go from the trough area outside to shoot into the attic. Because remember, this is over our dining room, and this room was added. So there's not much crawl space above it. So they put these chutes in, and they spray foamed it in, because they had to do like compact it, because you couldn't actually spray foam. You couldn't blow insulation in because it was such a small space. So you had to do spray foam if you wanted to get the R value up where you wanted the R value to be to make it work. So, I mean, it was kind of is kind of a cool project, but it's also been a 6-month labor of love to figure this all out and to do this with our house. And I'm so excited to see how it holds up this winter, how everything looks, right? And how it works, because, you know, you never know. There's building science. And I mean, trust me, I read a bunch about building science, but there's also what's working and what doesn't work. Now we're getting solar panels too. And the solar panels will go over, again, this dining room, because that's the best location for them. And then we're going to have battery storage in our basement added as well. So I'm super excited to see how it all comes together. So the total project though was about $80,000, which is just, when you think about it, that's a lot of money to put into your home. But if you're able to save, I mean, literally, we should be saving at least, well, I don't want to throw a number out there, but it's going to be on average Americans. I was just reading something that said they spend between $2,500 and $4,000 a month, a year in utilities, right? So our utility bills, I think the total was, I think it was 25,000, I'm sorry, 2,500 last year. So I'm anticipating that we'll maybe be paying 15, 20 bucks a month for natural gas, maybe a little bit of solar. But if I'm able to save over $2,000 just on electricity each and every year, right? Plus be generating my own energy. Then if we're selling solar back, I might make money. I'm not sure, you know, to be determined, right?
Yeah.
But
well, and it, if I'm not mistaken, for you, it's also like the economics of it are a great benefit, but for you, it definitely comes from the core of caring for the earth.
Yeah. Why should we use something that we don't need, right?
One of my, like, I guess you could call it a mission statement for why I started to tie sustainability in with my real estate business was because I wanted to see more eco-friendly, green, sustainable, regenerative, pick your word, homes on the market than conventional homes.
Yep.
And so I have, like, you know, goals for myself down the road. Like I eventually want to do, I'll call them an eco flip, you know, so
Nice.
what you've been doing, but not just like a flip, you know, like I
No,
want
but
to,
like maybe a development, or you want to take an area and you want to, which is great, Madison, because that's what we need. We need folks to think differently about buildings, right?
we
Because
do.